On this week's show, the Georgia Southern Eagles continue to struggle at home and find success on the road. We'll take a look at this past weekend series. We'll also take a look at how things are going for the softball team, as well as men's golf taking part in the Sun Belt Championships. All that and more as we welcome you inside the Eagles Nest.
Eagles came to fight, it's their blue, white. Eagles came to fight, it's their blue.
And welcome inside the Eagles Nest. I'm your host, Josh Aubrey, being joined by Mike Anthony, sports editor and Georgia Southern beat writer for the Statesboro Herald. And Mike, we've got football off the front page for a while now, hopefully with spring done. And now we can focus on baseball. And where you look at the baseball team, it has not been home sweet home for Georgia Southern. They've played pretty well on the road, played pretty bad at home. Once again, they let a game get away from them. 3-2 games, and one in which they won, one they lost, and then they kind of let the wheels fall off there on Sunday. Your thoughts on where Georgia Southern is at this point?
Well, tough to say, what's going on as far as home and away is as much as they've struggled at home. They've been great away from home. Maybe it bodes better for them that a little bit backloaded with the road games here at the end of the season. But for this team, it's just been all about consistency, or rather a lack thereof, not able to put all the phases of the game together at one time. They've had solid pitching, especially starting pitching on the weekends throughout the season. Very rare that a starter gets lit up early in the game. Unfortunately, that happened on Sunday. Weren't able to salvage the series. But when the pitching has come through, it's been the hitting. We knew going into the year that this wasn't going to be a team that piles up 4 and 5 and 6 run innings. This isn't going to be a team that wins with a couple of 3-run home runs every game. They have been able to get some key hits in key situations, just not quite as often as they want. And then the one thing that I would say is a bright spot as we've moved throughout the season are the errors. The defense, an issue at times last year, a big issue at times early in this season. You have seen that error column start to come up with tallies of 0 and 1 more often though. So the Eagles not quite beating themselves, just have to do a little bit more to make sure that they've got enough in the tank to end up on top at the end of the game.
We kind of had a figure that they were going to need to play a little small ball in order to win some games this year, and you'd hoped, as you mentioned, that the pitching would hold up, the bullpen would hold up. The bullpen's been a little bit shaky at times, but not moving runners over and leaving a lot of runners on base, that's got to be pretty frustrating, especially when you look at some one-run games that they've lost, in which I know this past weekend, leadoff runner at second, can't bring them around. Bases loaded, 1 out, hit into a double play. Those are things that when you're already a little below your usual offensively, you got to be able to do those little things.
Well, and that's just one of those things about baseball, kind of like when you're not fielding well, the ball's going to find you no matter what. It seems like when you're not doing the little things well, even when you have a good at bat, even when you make good contact, it finds a way to go against you. In that Friday night game, the Eagles did end up winning ultimately, but 4 consecutive innings ending on double plays, and these weren't your regular ground ball double plays where the pitcher made a good pitch. One's a line drive, 3 are hard ground balls, so it's just something you've got to battle through. That's why you play so many games in baseball. It takes a while for all those slumps and streaks to even out. For the Eagles, it's just a matter of seeing where they are right now, right in the middle of the pack, knowing that they've got a little bit of work to do to ensure a spot in the postseason, and then making sure that they've got everybody hitting on all cylinders at the end.
All right, well, let's get back to this weekend and take a look at their 3-game series at home, J.I. Clements Stadium. Georgia Southern hosting Little Rock in the first of 3 on Friday. Early on in the game 1, it's Evan Challenger in charge, one of his 6 strikeouts over 5 2/3 innings pitched. The Eagles start the scoring in the second. Jordan Wren, the RBI bloop to left. Ryan Cleveland coming through with a nice slide at home. And it's 1-0. To the 6th we go, 2 on, 2 out, and a rare mistake by Challenger. This fly ball to the track, good for a double, 2-run score, and it's 2-1. In the 7th, runners on the corner, the squeeze bunt by Evan McDonald, and he does his job. CJ Brazel scores, and we're tied at 2-all. To the 9th we go, runners on 3rd here, 2 out, and the slow roller by C.J. Ballard. He beats the throw. Will Hudgens scores, and the Eagles win a thriller in walk-off style, 3-2. So to Saturday we go. Rodney Hennon looking for 2 in a row. Things start out well for Georgia Southern. The bloop to center by Ryan Cleveland. Evan McDonald scores, and it's 1-0 Georgia Southern. To the 4th we go, 1 on, 2 out, and Hayden Martin will bring in Zach Baker with this single into center. Little Rock takes a 2-1 lead. Adam Kelly solid in relief for Georgia Southern. He goes 3 1/3 innings with 5 strikeouts, allowing only 1 hit. Connor Simmons takes over in the 8th and promptly delivers the solo home run to Dalton Thomas. As Little Rock extends their lead to 3-1, the Eagles able to answer that with a solo blast themselves. Ryan Cleveland to straightaway center field. This one no doubt gone, but 3-2 is as close as this one would get. With the tying run on second, check out the play by Kyle Kirk as he goes over the fence to grab this one, and the Eagles fall by a final of 3-2. So to the rubber match we go on Sunday. Little Rock wasting no time as they grab a 2-0 lead on the 2-run homer here by Ryan Scott. The Eagles come back in their half of the inning, 2 on for Jordan Wren, and he brings 1 home with the double, but Ryan Cleveland hung out to dry for out number 3. In the second, bases loaded, but not long. Dalton Thomas clears them with the 3-run double. Little Rock would take a 7-1 lead. Later with the score 11-4, bases loaded for Hunter Thomas. And he makes it a 3-run game with his second grand slam of the season. But this wouldn't be enough. Little Rock tacks on 6 more runs, 2 coming on Nick Gifford's home run here. And they win by a final of 17-8. Well, Mike, the good news on the road continues. They did beat Kennesaw, won the series with them this year, and now they're on the road at Monroe. Hopefully they can continue their road success. There's only 3 more Sun Belt series for Georgia Southern before the tournament, which hopefully they'll be a part of. It looks like it right now. You can't tell. They're close to the bottom.
A lot of people really battling in the middle.
That's
It could
right.
be as much as just getting 1 or 2 key wins, those kinds that they've been losing down the stretch here the last couple of weeks. You win a couple of those, it puts yourself in great position.
Only the top 8 go to the Sun Belt tournament, which this year I believe is in Texas.
San Marcos.
There you go. Enjoy that one. All right, well, let's go to the other Diamond Eagles, the softball team. They've been playing pretty well, 3rd in the conference right now. They are coming off losing 2 of 3 against Troy, but in that series, Dixie Raley, their pitcher, the freshman phenom, became only the first ever Georgia Southern pitcher freshman to win 20 games and only the second overall pitcher to win 20 games.
Yeah, this is a Georgia Southern team that knows it has its 1 ace. The good thing about softball is in doubleheaders, you can pitch a lot more. You can pitch on back-to-back days when you get to a tournament setting where it looks like the Eagles are going. And the big thing for the softball Eagles that maybe the baseball Eagles could learn a little bit from, they seem to get those big hits late. It seems like every time you look at the scoreboard, there's a 3-run homer going over the fence in the 5th, 6th inning. They've won a lot of dramatic games late. It helps when you've got a freshman ace. Hopefully they've got 3 more years of Dixie Raley to look forward to. And as this team continues to grow, it certainly seems like they're growing into those big shoes that they had to fill going up from the Southern Conference into the Sun Belt.
All right, well, this week, midweek series on the road at Savannah State. Let's look at some of those highlights. The Georgia Southern Eagles on the road at Savannah State. The Eagles threatening early on, but Amanda Hallman getting the called 3rd strike to get out of a jam. 2 on for the Tigers. Dixie Raley with the K to end the inning. Top of the 2nd, 2 on for Lydia Witkowski. She sends this one up the middle for the RBI single. Georgia Southern up 1-0. Raley will then get Tiger pitcher Hallman swinging, but Hallman returns the favor, getting the strikeout to end the inning, leaving runners on base again. Raley with another strikeout. She'd have 9 in the game and allow only 3 Tiger hits. Georgia Southern goes on to win this one by that score of 1-0. Well, Mike, hopefully home will be sweet home for Georgia Southern this weekend. Big series at home against Lafayette, ranked nationally, and we know that they've been to the College World Series, and this is a team that's going to be giving you all you can handle. But one thing we did forget to mention earlier was a big win on the road at South Carolina. First ever, I believe, on the site of the SEC team to pick up a victory.
Yeah, this is a team that definitely has been surprising all season. They're a surprise in the Sun Belt. However, one team that is no surprise at all is the team that's coming in this weekend, the Lady Cajuns, expected to be at the top of the standings. That's right where they are, 35-6 on the year. As you mentioned, up in the national rankings. This is a team that doesn't just expect to win the conference or the conference tournament. They host regionals, they host super regionals. They're no stranger to the College World Series, but that's exactly where this Georgia Southern team sees itself heading in a few years. So no time like the present to see how you stack up.
Well, last year the Georgia Southern softball team struggled a bit in the tournament, but the Georgia Southern golf team played quite well, earning a spot in the postseason. Tough one this time to go on the road to Destin, and they just didn't have their stuff.
It was a little bit strange. The same course that Georgia Southern was able to light on fire last year, pretty much run away with the Sun Belt Championship. They went back to the same course earlier in the fall for the Sun Belt preview, where all but one team from the Sun Belt participated. They finished second in that one, and then the wheels just came off. Not quite sure how to describe it. If you're a golfer, I guess you know how it feels. It's more like the kind of golf that Josh and I play, where just shots go sideways off the tee, double bogeys, triple bogeys. It's real hard to make birdies in a collegiate conference championship course setup, and Georgia Southern just dug themselves a little bit of a hole on the first day, a much bigger hole on the second day, and by then kind of left in the dust there by some of the better teams.
Looks pretty bleak for the postseason for Georgia Southern. We'll let you know how they end up when the bids come out pretty soon. For now, that'll wrap things up. For Mike Anthony, I'm Josh Aubrey. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.